The Ragin Cajuns found their quarterback. It's Locked On Sunbelt.
You are Locked On Sunbelt, your daily podcast on the Sunbelt Conference, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome back to another edition of Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. I'm your host, Dave Schultz. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet just $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. All right, so along with talking about Cajuns quarterback Ben Wooldridge, the Sunbelt refs admitted a mistake. We don't see that very often. And did I see this right? Marshall ran 6 plays, and that was it against Stony Brook. Talk about vanilla, although being effective. So the one thing that we were wondering, and we kind of evolved, if you will, when it came to Louisiana Ragin Cajuns, was I guess we kind of got our eyes opened up when the Vegas people came up with their over-unders of like, wasn't it 8.5? Like, they're going to really win that many games? And the initial thing was, are they overrated? And then all of a sudden, we started breaking it down. Offensive line is experienced. Defensive line is experienced. They got some talent at the linebacking crew. Experienced in the secondary. Talented in the running back room, right? Talented, but maybe inexperienced in the receiver room. And only one real tight end with experience. But they showed out in the game against Grambling. So the one question we had was, where are they QB-wise? Chandler Fields came back when Zion Chris left. He got most of the reps in the spring with Ben Wooldridge still rehabbing. And then, it was a competition come fall camp again. And Ben Wooldridge, just like, the previous year, wins the job. Comes back faster than people thought he would. And he looked the part. And I just remember last season watching him play against Northwestern State. Very comparable numbers to a point. 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. Same numbers that he had against Grambling this past weekend. The difference is he was 14 to 32 for 223 yards against Northwestern State. This year, 25 to 33 for 308 yards. That's a huge, huge difference. And if they have their quarterback and they can stay healthy, the Ragin Cajuns can compete. We're not going to overreact to one game, and it is Grambling, and they're getting Kennesaw State, this weekend. Not going to overreact to that. They do get Tulane, all right, and then they get Wake, so competition will get stiffer as we go along here very quickly. But we saw Arkansas State eke by Central Arkansas. We saw Texas State survive against Lamar. South Alabama got embarrassed by North Texas. Troy lost to Nevada. I mean, ULM won. Southern Miss didn't score. So in the West, in the Sun Belt, although I would presume Texas State will end up playing better and Arkansas State will playing better, the Ragin Cajuns played pretty well. Again, not as explosive as some other teams that played on Saturday against lesser opponents. Alabama had a big weekend, and Auburn had a big weekend. It is what it is. Again, the Cajuns were really solid against Grambling. Let me see if we just do the Cajuns. Just do the Cajuns drives, right? The first 4 drives ended in scores. 3 touchdowns, and then a field goal. Next one was an interception, which was tipped, although that still counts as an interception. And then the next one was a touchdown. They did go for it and did not finish off a drive, although it was a good drive, 13 plays, 71 yards, but they got stopped. And they did finish the scoring at the end with a field goal. So, but Ben Wooldridge is the key. And the amount of receivers that, again, caught a pass in the game, amazing. Let's see what it was last year. Last year, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 players caught one. This year, it was 13. That's awesome. 13 different wide receivers caught a pass. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them caught one. Harvey Broussard and Robert Williams and Jacob Bernard led the way with 4 each. And so, I mean, you got Terrence Carter in there and Lance Legendre in there. Zylan Perry caught a short pass out of the backfield. When you have all these weapons, you almost have too much that you can do. And if Ben Wooldridge can stay healthy and play like he did against Grambling, and I know the competition is going to get better. It's not, his stats may not be as pretty as they were against Grambling, but goodness, if they have that quarterback issue solved, and unlike some other teams in Louisiana, a couple of easy wins, hopefully. Mike Desmo not wanting anybody to look ahead. I'm looking ahead. Got to beat Kennesaw State, And I don't mind saying you kind of have to beat them looking good. All right. Or else you maybe being called being sandbagging against Tulane. So, they're 2-0, and Ben Wooldridge has somewhere between, 500 and 600 yards and 5 and 6 touchdowns. That's a good start to the season. Now, again, Tulane's coming in, and we'll see if, the Grambling stuff and the Kennesaw stuff is a mirage, is a little phony. Well, not phony, but a mirage. That's a better way of saying it. Not phony. Tulane's getting Kansas State this weekend. We'll find out how good Tulane is. They did a number on Southeastern. We'll find out how good Tulane is playing against Kansas State. They do get them at home, I believe. So should be fun in a couple weeks. But that was the big question with the Cajuns, was Ben Wooldridge. And if that question has been answered, the Ragin Cajuns are going to contend in the West. I don't think it's all that difficult to see. Some of the teams in the West are not as good as we thought. Not at all. All right, let's take a timeout. Let's come back. On Tuesday, the Sun Belt came out with an announcement. Oopsie, in the Arkansas State Central Arkansas game. We'll talk about that when we come back. And right after, I tell you about eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep it ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit. Only available to U.S. customers. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. So Arkansas State gets a last-second touchdown from Jalen Rayner to Corey Rucker, and that gives them come from a head victory, 34-31 over Arkansas State, or over Central Arkansas, excuse me. And it was overturned. Ref on the sideline said no catch, and it was overturned. Apparently, Rucker caught the ball, got his toe down, but then landed out of bounds, and the ball came loose. All right. I don't like that rule. I think if you catch the ball in bounds and it doesn't matter. If you're out of bounds, you're out of bounds. But that's not the rule, right? If you got to complete the catch, all right, it is what it is. So the Sun Belt did come out among others, and the Sun Belt did come out with a statement following or with what happened, and apparently the official, replay official, did not follow protocol, which is kind of odd because usually all of the complaints with the officiating is on the field, that they cannot make the good plays. Also, they seem to take a long time in the officiating booth. They take a little bit too much time. So this was the statement from the Sun Belt Conference. Sun Belt Conference, upon review of the complete pass call with 3 seconds remaining in the Central Arkansas at Arkansas State football game, has announced an incorrect application of the replay review process. The replay official was focused on the firm control and body part down aspects of the act of a catch and failed to evaluate the surviving ground aspect of a catch during the review of the play in question. The right end zone camera shows the receiver did not survive the ground, but this camera angle was not consulted by the replay official. The replay ruling should have confirmed an on-field call of an incomplete pass. All right, a couple of things here, and nothing great for Central Arkansas. All right, Central Arkansas doesn't care. Great, you missed the call, right? That doesn't make us feel any better. We should have won the football game. I would say if the clock had struck 0, I would give them the football game, but they would never do that. All right. I would change the call. If you could somehow change the call, I would change the call. But in this case, and in most cases, actually, but if there's time left on the clock, Arkansas State would have gotten another play off, right? It was 7 seconds when that play got off. They ran a fade. You only would have ran, 4 seconds left. There were 3 seconds remaining in the game. So they could have gotten another play in there. I'm sure they would have scored just as easily as they did before. So Arkansas State probably would have won anyway. But I'm one of those guys. I don't want to hear it after the fact. And I know this is locked on Sunbelt, and I'm wishing for the best for Arkansas State. But oh man, that's brutal. I'm one of those things. If you get the call wrong, switch it, change it, right? But in this case, they would never do that, and Arkansas State would have had another play. But you just don't often see officials, make that kind of mistake. And now we're going to go through the process of finding out what the process is. Is there one guy up there? Is he talking to multiple people? How do you not find out if he made the catch? If he survived the ground? I don't understand. Right? How do we not get to that part? Whether I like it or not, that's certainly part of it. Feet down, right? As I look down, has his feet down, and he's not juggling the football. All right, great. Now he's going to the ground. He's got to survive the ground. So the ground can cause an incompletion, but the ground can't cause the fumble. I don't know. I don't get it. But yeah, so that's what happened. In this case, it's not hashtag always a bright side. Outside of Arkansas State still gets the win, right? And and Butch Jones and Corey Rucker and Jalen Rayner don't have anything to explain for themselves. That it's not they didn't make the call, right? It's not like calling your own fouls on the playground or something like that, or your own pass interference. They certainly don't have to explain anything. Refs made the call and they got it wrong. Them's the breaks, but. Yeah, I would. Couple of things. I don't like the rule. That's A. B. When you screw up a call at the end of the game, switch your call. Sorry. Too bad. So it does go Arkansas State's way this time. Let's see if they can take advantage of that and play a little better this week. All right. Let's take a timeout. When we come back, did I read this right? Marshall ran 6 plays. All right. All right. We'll do that when we come back. And right after I tell you about FanDuel. You've heard us talk about FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. Well, we have something a little different for you. Now through September 22nd, all FanDuel customers can bet $5 and get a 3-week free trial of NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Then with a YouTube TV base plan, you'll be able to watch every regular season Sunday afternoon out-of-market game. All you need is a Google account and a current form of payment, and you can cancel anytime. Just visit FanDuel.com, download America's #1 sports book. All of a sudden, YouTube TV is becoming very, very popular. All right, Dave Schultz, Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day. Let's see what my guy Luke Creasy, see if we can see what he said here. Quoting Marshall's thundering Marshall's head coach Charles Huff. Huff said today that the offense worked with about 6 plays in Saturday's win over Stony Brook, but we'll open up the playbook and be more creative Sunday or Saturday at Virginia Tech. What are you going to get to 10? Luke also went on to say Huff didn't name a QB1 today, said they'll game plan for the Hokies and decide, but they'll settle on one soon. They didn't play one quarterback. They didn't play 2 quarterbacks. They played 3 quarterbacks, although 2 of them did get the brunt of the play opportunities. Cole Pennington came in at the end of the game. Very interesting. I'm talking about vanilla offense. That is, we're working on 6 plays. That's it. It's a good opportunity to actually practice those 6 plays. Also, if the other team's not stopping them, I don't know why you would switch things up. Virginia Tech had their hands full with Vanderbilt. Maybe Marshall could be the surprise of the Sun Belt this year. I don't think a lot is expected out of Marshall. I think they were picked towards the bottom of the East. Right now, I don't think Marshall knows what they have with Marshall, right? They didn't play 1 quarterback. They played 3, but they're still having quarterback competition. We'll see if that changes. We'll see if that changes moving forward. We'll see if it changes for this weekend, because it's, again, going to be our theme, certainly in the early going opportunities, right? The big one is App State and Clemson this weekend. Opportunity. Texas State has a chance to, another really good G5 school is UTSA with Arizona State next weekend. Cajuns taking on Tulane and Wake. Georgia Southern is going to Nevada. All of a sudden, Nevada out of nowhere, right? They were like a 4-touchdown underdog to SMU, and they almost won the ball game. And then they go into Troy, basically a 2-score underdog. I think it was 9, but it was around 10 points. And they went into Troy and won. So there are opportunities all around, and certainly it doesn't get much bigger than Marshall going to Virginia Tech and having an opportunity to get something done against the Hokies. The Hokies have a lot of issues. Maybe we find out Vanderbilt is better than we think they are, but goodness, can you imagine if Marshall goes in there and beats Vanderbilt? Beats Virginia Tech? They will, I don't know if they'll be top 25. That depends on other people losing at the bottom, but they're certainly going to get votes. Although maybe no one's going to claim Virginia Tech's all that good if they've now lost to Vanderbilt and Marshall. It could be one of those things. But I'm looking forward to seeing some of that ball game. I actually happen to have, I don't know how it happened, I have Saturday and Sunday off. Tough to watch the games. You're working all day. Can't have the phone at work. And those are the busy days. We're extremely busy, obviously, on the weekends. And this past weekend was Labor Day weekend. And then in a couple of weekends is another big weekend. And the weekend after that is a big weekend as well. So it'll be tough to actually watch the games at work. And hopefully you can come home and watch it Saturday evening and then maybe a little Sunday evening before we do the wrap up. But that'll be one of the games that we're obviously going to be concentrating on is that Marshall Virginia Tech game, because we'll see who the quarterback is. You can always, here's the other thing. He can always go to the other one because he did it before and he's still giving each of them a chance. I think that's awesome. I do. I really do think that's great that they played two quarterbacks and both played pretty well, right? I mean, what they won 45-3. Yeah. Did well by my count. And I would presume that, we'll see which one gets the starting nod. A lot of times to me, it depends on who finishes unless they, if it matters, right? Earle started. He was 10 of 16 for 97 yards, 2 touchdowns. Earle and Braxton came in. He was 7 out of 11 for 141 yards and 2 touchdowns. Earle ran for 8 carries and 55 yards. Braxton 4 carries, 18 yards. So, and Cole Pennington, an efficient 4 out of 5, 52 yards with a touchdown. But the competition is Earle and Braxton, and Earle obviously gives you a little bit more running ability, and than Braxton does. Braxton put out some. I mean, he actually, completed 3 less passes and threw for almost 50 more yards. So both these guys seem to be pretty good. We'll see, right? One of those things we'll see. We'll probably be able to tell you, well, here's the thing. If Earle's the running quarterback and Braxton is the pocket passer, then he may not tell us, right? We may not find out who's starting until Saturday because now you have 2 different quarterbacks, right? When it's, Chandler Fields against Ben Wooldridge, the only thing is that Chandler is shorter. They're the same. They're the same guy. Ben may have a little bit, he's bigger guy, so he may have a stronger arm, can throw it deeper. But other than that, they're running the same offense. But if Earle's going to be part of your running attack, Charles Huff may keep that on the lowdown until, Saturday. All right, we will. Let's see if we need to get some guests on. Still getting settled. I'm still standing up in my apartment, still waiting for some things to arrive. That's been an issue. So maybe we'll set up some things that we can get some guys on as we get to the second week. So looking forward to that. We'll get to some of the coaches once the season kind of settles in. And just looking forward to having a great year. All right. It wasn't a great weekend for Sunbelt football. That's for sure. Some really good teams did not play all that well. And then, if ODU can get rid of those mistakes, they may be really good. We'll see. All right. Thanks so much for tuning in. We're 14, 15. We may be faster to 1,500 subscribers before you know it. So really appreciate it. It's going to be awesome. I'm so anxious for these games to come and looking forward to these huge games. Lucy Roden, one of Dan Levitart's gang, went out there and she said, watch out, Clemson. App State could pull off that victory. We've been talking about that for more than a minute. They're already talking about that the game is passed double by because they got demolished by Georgia. But boy, if they lose to App State, again, we're not going to hear much about it. We'll hear about it here, but everybody else will be talking about Clemson. Normally you'd be talking about App State, right? When that happened, when Marshall won and Georgia Southern won, and was it App State? He had three games. Let me see. Why can't I remember that? I'll look at this, see if I can. Who pulled off all the upsets? Yeah, maybe it was App State, Marshall. Yeah, because then App State got game day there. So App State, Marshall, and Georgia Southern all pulled those upsets. Was it 2 years ago? 2 seasons ago, 22 on like a Tuesday or on a Saturday, second weekend, and we started the podcast like the next week or something like that. But so it was like in 22, and it was all about the Sun Belt. It wasn't about the teams that lost; it was about the team that won. But in this case, it'll be about the team that loses. App State will get their love, but it'll be more about Clemson. Unfortunately, not here though, but there, everywhere else, it'll be more about Clemson. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Really appreciate it. Thanks so much. You've been watching and listening to a Locked On Sunbelt, your team every day.